Good morning to you from the recently released new Changi Airport scenery by TAIMODELS. So this is probably the first and probably the last scenery review that you'll ever see here on the channel. But yeah, the recently released scenery of Singapore Changi Airport, the home airport of well, pretty much all cinemas were based in Singapore. So I thought that I'd like to do a quick review because well, there is some value in that, and yeah, we'll just take a look and explore this recent scenery. So I've before watching the trailer, I could and after watching the trailer, sorry, and the screenshots on the Inabuilds page, I would say that impressions-wise, you can tell that this scenery has been created with a decent amount of work. The developers said that they parted off 20 left on their outbound flight, which means that because the last day of 20 left 02 right operations was actually, I believe, on the 30th of November 2023. It's either the 29th or 30th. I think in the wee hours they switched over to close that runway down. So that means that this scenery was developed, or rather has been in development for at least 2.5 years. Sorry, 1.5 years. So a pretty decent amount of effort and time that has likely gone into this. So let's see what the culmination of that looks like in this scenery. So the first thing I notice is that starting off at the approach end of 02 left, we do have the sequence correction runway end identifier lights here. Touchdown zone lights are existent as well. Maybe let's turn the timing a bit down here to the evening so you can actually see the touchdown zone lighting. You can see the REILs, they do exist. Puppy left and right, yes, that's correct. And ALSF2 lighting, that is correct as well. The only thing that's like missing, and I think this is a general theme in this entire series, no sequence flashing lights, which do exist in real life for all runways except for 02, correction, 20 right, yeah, which we'll take a look at later. Okay, but overall lighting is generally fine, and you'll see me comment on this later. The only, not the only, but one of the major things that really brings this scenery from something that could be quite high end to something that, yeah, it's decent, but it definitely needs some refinement. Is the lack of custom taxiway lighting, because this is default Asobo lighting, which we'll take a look later. Yeah, because at major airports, there are a lot of lighting, taxiway lighting features that default Asobo lighting doesn't quite represent well. So back to about 1 p.m. local time, which is around solar noon, so the sun will be at the highest point in the sky here around Singapore. So let's take a look at these bays over here. These are the um, south remote parking bays at the South Apron. So yeah, it's a place where you have parking for SIA aircraft and storage, Scoot aircraft and storage. Sometimes, occasionally, I have seen some aircraft being parked here on regular line operations. Yeah, because maybe jetway is out of space, or for some reason, whatever, the aircraft are parked here. Yeah, for maintenance, storage, whatever. Um, it's pretty rare for most people to ever visit this. Highly unlikely, unless you're doing some sort of VIP operations or simulating some sort of storage flight. So yeah, you won't really see this very much in your day-to-day A to B operations, but the area has been modeled generally well. Now, I can't lie, I haven't actually visited this part of the airport myself in real life, but based on arrivals on 02 left, you look out the right window, yeah, it generally looks right. Okay, as in the markings and comparing satellite footage, yeah. I believe this developer, for all their markings, at least they have tried to use satellite footage, yeah, for all their um, marking placements. The ramp area, the red and the white lines here, which are quite representative of the real airport here. Not bad. And yeah, I'd say overall it's a decent representation of this area. Yeah. And this is here the Pan Island Expressway, which um, if you're visiting the airport coming in from the heartlands, you'll definitely always almost pass this section here, where you can sometimes see aircraft arriving on 02 left. Quite a spectacle. Yeah. Of course, in real life there's a fence, right, and there will be more cars, but okay, not too bad. And this reservoir is roughly of the correct shape. Nice to see that it's been modeled. The canal, of course, it's not been modeled, but yeah, I'd say, you don't really give too much attention to that when you're on arrival, definitely. So I think it's fine not to have that modeled to a high level of detail. One thing that I can comment on is that the shading, the coloring, the grading of the apron in general is a bit too dark, yeah, for the asphalt area, the taxiways. Yeah, the taxiway is a bit too dark. In real life, it's not this dark. The shade of gray of asphalt is not that dark. It is dark, yes, it is dark, but it's not that dark. Yeah. So um, if they could make it a bit more lighter, yeah, if they could make it lighter, it would be a much better representation. This area over here, this bunch of what look like ovals around here, this is actually pretty decently represented in the sense that yes, these ovals all exist in real life, and yeah, lots of hold line markings, and this shading right here, you can see this darker asphalt. It's all present there in real life, so it's actually not bad because I think developer just referenced the satellite imagery from Google Maps. Yeah, which is all quite decently done. Not bad at all. Taxiway signage placements are also decent. Okay, there's a bit of an issue here. So something I've seen. Sierra Charlie 2, that's South Cross 2. This is no longer South Cross 2 in real life. Yeah, this is Romeo, this is Sierra. So this needs to be updated. And the taxiway signage needs to be updated. Yeah. This is not Sierra Charlie 1. Yeah, definitely not. Yeah, and it's not Uniform 3 or whatever. It's Victor, it's Victor 10, Victor and Whiskey. But okay, yeah, hopefully the developers, I will send in a bug report and see whether they get things fixed up. Holding point 02 left, something that quite a few aircraft will probably pass by. This area here is actually correct, yeah. You actually have instead of asphalt, you have a concrete slab over here. Nice to see that they have some sort of tire markings, but unfortunately the concrete the tiling is actually too large, these squares. In real life, the squares are actually much smaller in size, okay, and they're not exactly white as well. They're a bit of yellowish. So, okay lah, it's decent enough representation, but it does need to be updated. And this is no longer taxiway whiskey papa. Yeah, this is taxiway whiskey. So this is actually something that I would say needs to be updated because it's quite a shame that an airport released in May of 2025 has taxiway signage that was in use probably in 2022 or even earlier. Yeah, I can't exactly remember, but it's been a long time since they switched over to the new taxiway signs. Yeah, these markings here not bad. Yeah, they do exist in real life. They are not like that. See, this one has 02 left, 20 right. This one doesn't. It just has 02 left. And number of piano keys is correct. Overall, this is very good. Yeah, this is pretty much what the markings look like in real life. Yeah, it's not spaced evenly. Yeah, and you see the 332211 over here, which is accurately simulated. Nice to see the tire marks. In real life, the Changi runway is quite dirty. Yeah, it's very dirty runway. It would be nice if they added some sort of texture over here too. And there's a trick in the SK you can do. You can put some tire markings, and then you can make it look adjust the metalness. Yeah, then they look like rubber markings on the runway. So they could look at implementing that. So of course, this grass here, you can kind of tell it's satellite imagery. It's not too bad, but yeah, when you look at it from the side, when you're taxing out, I think it looks fine. But from above, yeah, it looks a bit stranger. Yeah, and also, of course, this is a bit too saturated. Yeah, even after the thunderstorm, even after lots of rain, the grass is never this shade of green. This is too bright green. Yeah, it's more. I would say it's closer to something of this color, this grass. Maybe it's not even exactly that, but it's definitely not this bright green. So let's come back to here. This is the Alpha 15 to Alpha 21. This is the gate hold room area for this bay. Or the gate areas A15 to A21. Yeah, it's this powerhouse in this region. Let's take a look at the starting from the A Alpha 21 area first. So generally, I would say not a bad representation. And in fact, in general, this is pretty much true for all the bays. The markings, these red hatchings and the white hatchings, not bad. The red is a bit too saturated. It's not that bright. Okay, it's a bit darker, but I would say yeah, it's decently represented. The no parking signs there are also there in real life. These are the fuel hydrants, so this is decently represented. The only major thing is that um, the tilings are too large, and I think this is something that is to do with their technique. This is something that I've seen in here, Beijing Daxing scenery as well. The tiles are too large. Yeah, in real life it's something about, I would say, this size, and the color is also not sort of this color. It's slightly more yellowish. Yeah, but overall, not too bad. Jetways, well, they don't exactly look like the real ones. Okay, some things, the characters just not perfect, but it's close enough. Yeah, so not too bad. Um, yeah, it's not a deal breaker lah. Yeah, don't exactly look like the real ones. I would say actually the Imaginesim has very good jetway in terms of the characterization, in terms of the character of the real jetways. They've captured it quite well. I'd also like to point out that yeah, this is actually decent because in real life you do have these um, like borders on the taxiway. It doesn't quite look like that, but it sort of does. And also the markings here are not, yeah, they do look like that. There's a missing gate number here, but this is, I would say, a small detail. Yeah, it doesn't matter too much. Yeah, I'm not sure whether this VDGS actually works. I have to check it out. Another thing that notice is that the glass that they're using for pretty much the entire airport, the tint is a bit too greenish. Yeah, it's a very greenish tint, and it's also a bit too light. The real glass is quite a bit darker, and it's more turned down the green, shifted more towards blue, and you have a more accurate representation of the glass. These panels, this doesn't exist. Okay, this sort of weird looking texture doesn't exist. Yeah, it's a pretty clean panel in real life. Yeah, and they reflect light quite well. They're quite metallic, but it's a small nitpick. From far, you don't really see anything too major. Yeah. Fonts wise for the bay, unfortunately they're not quite right. The real Changi actually has quite unique markings. Yeah, for different parts of the base. The newer ones will have a different form from the older ones. Okay, so yeah, I don't really blame them for getting it wrong because it took me a lot of effort to actually get them right, to actually see what the correct font was. Yeah, but overall markings wise, it's not too bad. Yeah, it's decent. Yeah, and the hold lines, yeah, they do exist and look sort of like that as well. So functionality wise, I would say it's decent. It works. Yeah. So let's take a look at the interior, and you can see that, well, um, it doesn't quite look like that. Okay, in real life, in real life it's sort of a glass front over here, so that the people who arrive can be channeled out over here, then they can walk towards over here, and then they can be dumped out somewhere here, lah, and then they can go for their immigration baggage collection stuff. And then in here you have the gatehold rooms and the seats. Okay, yeah, maybe it looks something like this. Yeah, this would be a good representation. There's a glass sort of barrier between the seats and the walking area. This is of course too narrow, but um, you know, I personally don't really care too much about interior representation because it's not something that you see too much from the scenery. Yeah. I'll pay more attention to a detail like this, for example, where the jetway is placed much higher than where, you know, the ground level appears to be. Yeah, this is, in my opinion, more of an egregious error than the interior not being modeled perfectly. Yeah, but yeah, it's something that you would notice. Okay, if you're parking at this Alpha 15, Alpha 16, but okay lah. Okay, actually no, it's a common thing for this particular area. So yeah, let's see whether they'll do something about it. Overall, yeah, it's correct stuff. Yeah, there is a road here. There is, yeah, speed limit 30. That is correct. And yeah, there are some. Overall, I'd say it's not badly represented. This area below here, yeah, and all these cutouts with the glass and all stuff. Yeah, it's actually decently marked. Yeah, and the ground staging equipment area, ground vehicles, ground service equipment staging areas. Yeah, these are all decent. Yeah, decent. These are again hatchings. All this one, I'd say I'll give it to them. Pretty accurate in terms of line thickness. Yeah, pretty decent. So here all the same, pretty much. Yeah, this in real life, they seem to model this quite well. Okay, there's a travelator in real life. Yes, there's a travelator, and yeah, I'll say this. I'll give it to them. Yeah, pretty decent modeling. The carpeting. I think actually this is the correct T3 carpeting for this area as well. So kudos to them for getting this part of the interior done quite well. And yes, in real life there is a SkyTrain track here. Not sure whether the SkyTrain runs. This is the one that runs from um, so-called transfer A to the A15 to 21 gates over here. Yeah. Let's take a look at what it looks like at night, because yeah, it'd be a waste of time to come back all the way at night and visit this part of the scenery again. So here you can see, I think in real life this part is correct, that it is indeed this sodium vapor. They're still using sodium vapor lamps, but actually you will see that it's a theme, right? Then almost the entire airport uses sodium vapor lamps for apron side lighting, but that's actually not quite correct. For a lot of parts of Terminal 1 and Terminal 2, they've actually changed over to LED lights, so you see white lighting instead. Yeah, but this one is not a major issue. At least the night lighting looks somewhat decent, yeah, so I'll give it to them. And from the outside interior, yeah, it looks somewhat decent. Yeah, I would say, yeah, you can see that there's some sort of stuff going on. Maybe it could be afford to be a bit brighter. The inside stuff, yeah, a bit more lights placed around, but yeah, I'd say generally it's possible. Yeah. Okay, let us continue on over here. So yeah, generally all fine, pretty standard. Yeah, let's move on to this section here. So this is gate A1 to A8, the holding room here, and above here you have the SIA Silvercrest lounge. Yeah, I would say, well, from the outside it doesn't quite look like that, but because of course they have more seats, you know. Yeah, but it's not a bad representation. Carpeting is correct. These lights here on the roof are pretty much correct. This is kind of what they look like in real life. And yeah, overall I'd say it's not too bad. Yeah, from the outside it looks fine. Yeah, it's not an issue. And yeah, nice to see that they've gotten all the little nooks and crannies of the no parking areas, yeah, correct stripes. And you can see they added a little bit of these oil stains and stuff. This one, yeah, they have added the metalness texture, which is nice to see. Yeah, so if they can do this, use the same trick for the runway, that would be very nice. Not quite sure about this. Yeah, these like black looking stripes running down. I don't think they're in real life, but well, um, I could be wrong. Yeah, they could have based it off satellite imagery. Okay, so yeah, now we come to one of the most important parts of Terminal 3. By the way, here you see this is the PMDG 777 that I'm in here. Performance-wise, it is slightly worse than Imaginesim, but it's not by much. Yeah. You can see the performance on my particular PC is not the best, but that's because my PC is pretty bad in terms of performance. But it's just slightly worse than Imaginesim, yeah, in terms of performance. Yeah, and I do have the Clouds of Asia Singapore CD scenery there installed, so that could be affecting performance as well. So, yeah, but I would say performance is not an issue for this airport for most people. Yeah, if you have Imaginesim, it runs just slightly um, less decent. Okay, so this is Bay Alpha 1, and here comes one of the interesting things. This area here in real life, there's a huge blast effector fence, yeah, located here, because this is where engine starts are done. Aircraft are pushed back here and then they're towed forward, but they're facing this direction, so if you start the engines, yeah, there's a blast effector fence, and generally there's a lot more stuff going on here. But yeah, a lot of ground service equipment, containers, vehicles, stuff like that, but suppose it's a bit hard for them to find references. Yeah, I'll try and send all those that I have of them, of the area, to them, so they can take a look and see whether they can model it. This is the T3 Central sort of Piazza. Not badly modeled, yeah. You have these characteristic L-shaped looking things. The only problem is that they have put this black sort of thing here, which it would be appreciated if they could add sort of something, because it looks a bit strange when you look at it from outside. Yeah, because in real life this is a full glass front with a lot of stuff going on behind. Like you have Louis Vuitton stuff displays. You have the Silver Chris, this Chris Flyer Gold Lounge up here. Yeah, generally there's quite a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, but okay, it's not a big major issue. One thing that I must compliment them on is of their implementation of these 919 skylights. Yeah, which I would say is actually very authentic. Yeah, at least when you look at it from the inside. Yeah, this pretty much exactly looks like what they look like in real life. So really well done to them. And let's take a look also at the interior of this terminal here, which is nicely done. Yeah, this is pretty good in the sense of, yeah, you know, this little structure here. And the skylights are really done very well. I have to give it to them. Yeah, they really have captured the character of the skylights. Yeah, like when I look across here, this very much looks like the real Terminal 3. So I gotta give it to them. Okay. Yeah, the wooden. These are wood lah. It's not that reflective in real life, but yeah, it's all very good. Yeah, very very nice. The carpeting here is correct. These air conditioning structures, yeah, very nice. The so-called green wall doesn't quite look like that, but you know, I appreciate the effort to represent it. Yeah, so well done to them. And this is where you go for your passport control, the departure immigration here. Yeah, of course, there's more stuff going on, you know, but overall, yeah, this is very decent indeed. Okay, yeah, so this is the Terminal 3 check-in area. And interesting, they've even got these structures by Hans Hypo over here. Yeah, these sculptures, yeah, which is quite a nice detail. Yeah. So let's go back to taking note the apron area over here. I'll take a look at the full Landside review later on. Okay, once we're done with this stuff. Okay, so this is pretty much the same thing. Okay, this is the Bravo 1 to Bravo 4 gate area. Um, I think it's basically a mirror of what they have done on the other side. So pretty much the same thing. Okay, the same comments apply. Yeah. So these structures look nice, representative. The carpeting is good, but could be more seating. Okay, but there could be a reason because of LOD issues or whatever that they didn't add the stuff. Yeah. And this is this. In real life, it's a butterfly garden. It's not a. It's pretty dark, yes, but it's also not completely, not see through lah. Yeah. So but I think it's fine because it's quite dark in real life. You can't really see much looking in. So I say it's not a bad representation. Okay, let's continue over here. So yeah, again you can see apron area hatchings. The shape is all, I would say it's correct. Yeah, because I think they've traced it from satellite imagery. Nice to see that they've included the drainage also. Of course, this section doesn't quite look like that in real life, but yeah, the individual drains cut off around here. But okay, it's a decent effort. Yeah, and I appreciate that they've gotten the order sort of right. So it's drain, then it's white dotted, then it's red. Yeah, so that's correct. And this huge no parking area is indeed correct. Yeah, that's why on the taxi charts you see they say pilots to taxi through white hatched apron markings and follow stand lead-in lines to taxi to base for these base way to taxi in. So well done to them. Okay, so all these landside stuff, Crowne Plaza, Jewel, Tower, all of this and the respective departure check-in areas I'll take a look at later on. Yeah, but we can continue moving down here. Okay, so this is where the structure sort of changes from the modern T3 sort of glass frontage to the older style T1 frontage. Okay, let's take a look what it looks like nighttime. So generally okay. Generally, I would say it's characteristic, except that yeah, I'm not sure why they have these sort of strange, yeah, repeating textures. Yeah, it doesn't quite look like that. Yeah, um, yeah, it's not. Of course, it's not perfectly clean, but it doesn't quite look like that. Yeah. So yeah, this area you can see here, it's not really an interior. Okay, it's sort of like oh, interesting. Okay, I'm not even allowed to go in. Yeah, some bit of a stray CCTV here, it seems. Yeah, and yeah, otherwise, yeah, in real life the glass is pretty dark. Yeah, so I'll say it doesn't matter too much. If they could put a parallax here, okay, it would look a bit nicer, but otherwise I think it's fine. This Singapore Changi airports. Now I have to go back and take a look at photos. I'm not sure whether this is the actual color that they're using at the moment, okay, because I'm aware that the color has changed in past history, so this might not be the correct color right now, but there is a Singapore Changi airport sign over here, so we'll give it to them. Okay, same comments generally for the apron areas. Yeah, quite well done. Yeah, and now this is the T1. Um, that is the swimming pool. So this is I'm not sure exactly what it's some sort of sky garden. Yeah, so nice to see that they've actually had it modeled because you can actually see it pretty clearly from this bay. Okay. Um, this area was it's fine. Okay, of course there's more stuff inside, but generally looking decent. Yeah. And this is now the terminal, full-on terminal 1 structure. What strange is this material they've chosen to give this thing? It's really too bright blue. It's a much darker blue with almost a teal sort of coloring. Yeah, so this is it's quite strange. Yeah, not gonna lie, it looks pretty strange. So they could afford to fix that probably. Yeah. Um, yeah, generally as you go along, I'll say it's fine. And nice to see that they have the correct A3 tickets. Yeah, I checked that. Pretty much. Yeah, the correct A3 tickets are A3 tickets. Yeah, so these are 3 genways. So of course, Sobo hasn't enabled the ability to use 3 of the genways, so maybe that point is moot. Yeah, this is decent. Yeah, there is indeed little jutting out over here. This is a much better representation of the color of the actual blue stuff, yeah, that they were using earlier on. And yeah, nice to see that actually they have this thing modeled here, this little sort of traffic access tunnel to cross. This is taxiway, supposed to be taxiway Quebec, but I'm feeling it's labeled North Cross 3, yeah, onto the other side over here. So, and these red things, yeah, nice to see that they have it nicely put. And actually, let me just take a look what taxiway this is. Written as, um, yeah, written as North Cross 3. Okay, of course, in real life, this is Quebec. So beware when you taxi with, yeah, as they say, charts, scenery may be inaccurate, refer to charts. They always say that on VATSIM in the 80s. Yeah, nice to see all this stuff modeled. Let's see whether they're the max wingspan 65 meters signs. Um, okay, well, maybe not. Okay. Yeah, in real life, this is quite a taxi. This is a collision hotspot. Yeah, aircraft have collided at this area before. Yeah, I believe. Yeah, aircraft parked here, aircraft parked here. Yeah, collisions have happened before. So this T1 pier here, okay. Um, Interior wise, I think it looks fine. Okay, generally the look of the terminal one from outside. The only major complaint that I have is the coloring of the yeah, this. Okay, actually this part here, yeah, this part here actually looks, yeah, it's strange because you know you can see the coloring changes quite a bit. Yeah, especially during day and night time, looks quite different. But I can assure you it doesn't look like that. Yeah, this is too bright. Yeah. Oh, okay, and they have modeled the spotting area in Terminal 1. Yeah, this is probably the best indoor place to spot aircraft in Changi Airport. Yeah, this T1 viewing gallery. Yeah, so nice to see they have it modeled. Okay. Um, yeah, this area is, I would say, is decent. Decent. Yeah. In real life, I think there's a red sort of outline for this box-looking thing, but okay, they've got it. The representation is decent. Yeah. Yeah. So okay, I'll give it to them. Yeah. Decent representation. Okay, so the same comments apply to here. This pier. Okay, interior-wise, yeah, pretty decently represented. Actually, yeah, I'm surprised that it's represented quite nicely. Okay, of course, this is the T3 granite flooring, so it shouldn't be here. Carpeting wise, I can't quite remember, but I don't think this is the carpeting they have for Terminal 1 at the moment, yeah. But inside, yeah, this sort of V-shaped roof, that is correct and accurate to the real deal. Yeah, I'll say this is a decent representation. Yeah. There's always trade-offs. Okay, you cannot expect a perfect representation. So this, I would say, captures the character of Terminal 1 quite well. So, yeah, I'll give it to them. Okay, same for this side. Let's take a look at this area here. Okay, later we'll come back. This is the air freight apron. Okay, so you have all your FedEx, some FedEx UPS aircraft, they park, they stand, sometimes Scoot aircraft or China Southern. I also see them parking in these areas. Yeah, nice to see that they actually have it modeled, which is good to see. This is the sets, yeah, all the cold ports, the cargo area. And nice to see that they've actually modeled all this stuff. Yeah, I'm quite impressed that they have sources for this. Yeah, because I don't believe this is public access. So yeah, nice to see that they have it here. All nicely done. Yeah, sets cold port. Yeah, this is pretty accurate. Yeah, so if you like to do cargo operations, yeah, there's a nicely modeled cargo side over here. This is now threshold 20 right. Actually, no, that is the threshold, but this is one of the holding points. Okay, so let's see. Runway markings correct. Fire station at the RSCF part. Okay, this one pretty irrelevant, so I'm not gonna go and take a look at that. Okay, this is. Okay, let me see. This is unfortunately not quite right. Okay. Um, this part 20 right uses the taxiway, sorry, the runway lighting system that they use is called HIALS, High Intensity Approach Lighting System, which is a couple of bars leading out here of narrowing width. Yeah. So it's the wrong approach lighting system. Sequence flashing lights are there. There is no SFL for this runway. So yeah, this is fine. But this is the wrong approach lighting system. Yeah, you can see here. Okay. Yeah, this is the wrong one. Yeah, this is the real one. Looks different. Yeah. So, but it's not a major deal breaker. Yeah. Okay. Just that if they would change this, yeah, that would be nice to see. And I was gonna make a comment about the custom taxiway lighting. So, you know, at airports, once you pass the almost all major airports, once you pass the whole point, the coloring of the lighting changes. Yeah, you don't have solid green anymore. It's green and orange alternating to mark the ILS critical zone. Yeah, but this area doesn't have it. Yeah, and also you can see pretty uneven and strange spacing of the taxiway lighting. So if they implement a custom lighting solution, that would be much appreciated. And even I may actually go about and do something, yeah, to see whether I can mess around the SDK to improve this, because it really brings the scenery up to the next level. Once they fix the taxiway markings, yeah, then I'll consider, because then I'll know that okay, these guys are committed to actually improving the airport. Yeah, so you can see what it looks like at night. Yeah, I'll say lighting wise, everything is quite decent. Yeah, not bad at all. Um, this area here is not quite modeled, but that's fine. Okay, yeah, this is the it's out the airport boundary already, so yeah, that's fine. Some of the fuel storage facility stuff, SIAEC, the hangars, they have it over here. Yeah. Okay, overall not bad. Yeah, pretty decent representation. Um, yeah, you wouldn't also really come here normally, but it's nice to see that they have it all modeled. Yeah, the hangars and all the stuff. Yeah, so if you maybe towing your 350 from the maintenance hangar, 380, 777, or yeah, this is pretty nice. Nice to see they got 380 static over here. And another 380 inside. Yeah, the A380s are quite notorious for needing a lot of maintenance. Oh, E190 E2s. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, these are relatively recent additions to the Scoot company. Scoot, the Scoot fleet. Yeah, I was gonna say that this font is correct. Yeah, it's quite nice. This is the Singapore Sling font. Nice to see that they have it right. Yep, these are empty hangars. Suppose you could tow yourself, taxi yourself in, or tow yourself in and tow yourself out. This is the Pharma and Perishable Center, so yeah, COVID-19 stuff. During that time, the vaccines would have come in through here. Yeah, nice to see they have it modeled. Parallax interior, so they do know how to do parallax. Also, no, this is not parallax. Oh, okay. I thought it was parallax. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, this is, let's say, decently modeled. Yeah, it's not a major part of the airport you visit, so that's, I think it's more than adequate. Yeah. So overall, pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. Okay, let's move on here, because of course there's a lot more this scenery to cover. Okay, let's take a look here at the rest of T1 here. Okay, night lighting we've pretty much covered already lah. Yeah, so I'd say it's decent. Okay, T1 jet ray representation. Okay, decent lah. Okay, carpeting I think it's correct. Yeah, and they do have the sort of split down the middle of the jetway. Yeah, this is quite decent, but um, yeah, glass needs to be darker. Okay, that's my main comment. Yeah, and same thing goes for here. Okay, yeah, this is the it's sort of a walkway that leads to the swimming pool. Yeah, which is over here. So nice to see that they have the swimming pool model. Yeah, so well done to them. Yeah, around this is Delta 30. Yeah, so yeah, that's quite nice. And one thing I do appreciate about them for this particular scenery is they do have the correct um, multiple aircraft receiving stance. So the correct stance have Delta 40 left and right put it over here. Yeah, which is very nice. Okay, because yeah, in real life, the Imagine scenery there's no such thing. Cloud Surf Asia has some of these, but you can't spawn at a lot of them for some strange reason. This does has it. This does have it. So very good and nice to see. Okay, this is the moving towards, this is the old Terminal 1 structure, and you can see over here it changes to Terminal 2. Yeah, the sort of industrial looking, office building looking terminal, yeah, from the outside over here. Okay, they have captured the vibe quite decently. Okay, I would say, yeah, quite nice. Yeah, you don't really need an interior for this, honestly, because the windows are very dark, yeah, in real life. Yeah. So over here you got the Echo Pier. Um, this part over here, this sort of green glass alternation is quite nice to see because it is pretty representative. And nice to see that they have the new T2 carpeting inside. Yeah, although I don't know why they don't let you enter the interior because yeah, it's actually decently modeled. Yeah. So yeah, well done to them. Yeah, from outside Terminal 2 again looks, yeah, in general all the four terminals look quite representative of the buildings from the outside. Yeah, they have the look of the actual real terminal. Yeah. Okay, same thing here. In real life, actually this part is undergoing construction. So all these bays, the central apron is closed. Yeah. So I don't really know how it looks like in real life now. Yeah. Glass frontage here. This is the T2 Central Piazza. Um, I would say this is a decent representation of what it looks like to look inside at night. Yeah, it's pretty dark. Of course, that is because the actual terminal interior is dark. But I would say this is kind of what it looks like. Yeah, like you see how it looks pretty dark inside? Yeah, this is what it looks like to look inside. Okay, it's achieved the correct result, but for the wrong reasons. Yeah, because the inside is too dark. Okay, but nice to see that they've modeled the interior. Let's see what they have inside here. Okay, the T2 interior. Okay, they've modeled this initial part over here, which is yeah, not bad. Okay, nice to see they have the new carpeting, the new departure hall, and the digital fountain. Okay, that's nice to see. Yeah, and the departure area. Yeah, that's pretty much all you need modeled now. Yeah, so the interior is modeled. Yeah, I would say to a decent extent. Yeah, so okay, not bad. Kudos to them on this one. Yeah. Okay, we'll look at the air side. Sorry, land side later on. Yeah, because I'll do that all in one shot. Okay, so this is the T2. Okay, same thing. Yeah, and very nice to see that they have this building. Yeah, I think this is the only scenery that has this thing modeled here. I'm not sure exactly what this is supposed to be. I haven't actually visited this part here, but some sort of new extension out from the Foxtrot Pier. Yeah, this area here. But nice to see they have it modeled. Okay. In general, same thing now for all the bays over here. Yeah, missing blast defector fence. Okay, but they can add that, and the same industrial sort of look, extending from Fox 50 to 60. Yeah, yeah, this is accurate. This the bay looks quite different. Yeah, this area here. Yeah, the Fox 60, because this is supposed to be a VIP gate. Yeah, it links straight to the VIP complex. Yeah, which is over here. Yeah, so yeah, nice to see they have it modeled correctly. The Nata flight catering. Yeah, this is correct as well. The round holes in this structure. Okay, so let's move on now to um, let's take a look. Quite an important feature here. These are the South Cross taxiways that they've erroneously labeled South Cross 1 and 2. Okay. Apart from that, I would say that the gradient here, can you see that there's a gradient here? Yeah, it's pretty accurate. It's pretty close to what the real life gradient looks like. Okay, I don't have the exact figures, but there is a sort of gentle slope that starts from about here. Okay, maybe it's less abrupt because this is quite, you can see it's quite an abrupt change, but there is a noticeable ramp. Yeah, I'll say maybe even this is slightly too steep, but I appreciate that they have done a slope. Yeah, and it's not a ridiculous slope like on the cloud version. Yeah, this is actually a relatively benign one. Yeah, and the taxiways, this sort of structure here is quite nicely modeled. Yeah, so South Cross 1 and 2. Nice. Okay, nice to see that they have it modeled. Yeah. I think in real life they hadn't completed renovation or something. That's why this is concrete and this is asphalt. Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at Terminal 4 here. So you have the ramp tower. I'm not sure if this is actually that tall in real life. Yeah, I have to compare the real life photo because this looks much taller than the real deal, but I'll have to see. Yeah. Again, quite accurate. Okay, and yeah, the correct hatchings. Okay. Yeah, these are the white body stands here at Terminal 4. From the outside again, yeah, I'd say they have nailed the sort of look of the terminal. Yeah, which is quite impressive, and they have the correct look for the sort of the arrow bridge extension from the terminal here. Yeah, this is pretty good. Okay, basically all along here I'll say markings. Of course there shouldn't be a bus here, but this is part of the. I'm not sure what package this is. Yeah. Okay, all this stuff is pretty nicely done. Yeah, pretty accurate as well. And yeah, in general, not too bad at all. Yeah. Okay, all the way to Golf 1. Okay, same comments as always for the size of the concrete slabs. Yeah, but okay, not bad at all. In real life, there's a pretty high fence over here. Now, I would have appreciated if they modeled the fence. You don't need to model what's beyond the fence, which is the Jurassic Mile, but just model the fence. Yeah, because it's a real shame that they put it there in real life. Yeah, because that makes you unable to do any sort of spotting. It's a solid fence. It blocks out your view completely, apart from one small area over here where you can peek through the wiring. Yeah, but yeah, you know, yeah, it's not a major issue. Yeah, you can even actually see the 3D view of the fence over here. Yeah. No, actually the fence is on this side. The fence should be on this side. Yeah, should be on this side here. Golf course, you can see the satellite imagery. It would be nice if they added the trees. Okay, because this looks a bit weird. But again, it's nothing too major that you notice on your approach. Yeah. So this is all quite accurately modeled. Yeah, I can tell you because I've been. This is actually Landside. Yeah, been around this area before. Yeah, I'd say this is decent. Okay, we'll take a look at the terminal interior from Terminal 4 and then we'll move on. Yeah, so yeah, this is decent. Again, you've got the characteristic sort of round triangular shape over here. The carpeting is correct. And they even got these structures, which is nicely done. And yeah, I would say, yeah, this is a decent representation of what it looks like. Yes. I'm aware they haven't seen the T1 interior yet, which we'll take a look at together with Jewel. Okay, let's look at threshold here, then we'll look at 20 right, and then we'll come back over to look at all the interiors. Okay, so maybe I'll speed up a bit. Okay, so it's nice to see that they have modeled this entire area correctly. Okay, you have the correct two taxiway lead-ins here, Tango 13, Tango 12, Tango 11. Okay, and they even have this taxiway leading out here model, which is nice to see. Again, markings are correct for the runway. Okay, same thing now. Okay, this one doesn't have the sequence flashing lights, yeah, but otherwise I think it's fine. Yeah, otherwise I think it's fine. Yeah, they just have to add this, yeah, add the SFLs and then it'll be all good. Okay. So in real life also there is a there's a large barrier over here, okay, with red and white. It's a I forgot the exact name, but it's basically to prevent landing aircraft on this side. To think there's an aircraft on the runway, because if you land 20 center, you see an aircraft taxiing over here, you may think he's on the runway, but this thing blocks the view of this aircraft. Yeah, so the pilots know that he's not on the runway, he's actually behind. Okay, so this is the runway 20 left, 02 right that departed from. Okay lah, okay, this runway is closed in real life, so you wouldn't really be visiting it. Yeah, these are wrong, okay, the markings don't look like that, it's much smoother transition. Yeah, but okay lah, okay, it's not a, I won't be landing on this runway, so I honestly don't really care. Interesting that they said that they were able to capture images of the military area that are normally restricted. The SAF would like to have the word with you, but yeah, I would say, yeah, overall, yeah, decent representation. Okay, even though you likely won't be visiting this for a long, quite some time to come. Yeah, yeah, but okay, looks decent. Yeah, and nice to see they got the Charlie and Delta taxiways. Although I'm not sure whether they're labeled correctly or not. Actually, I don't even see any labels, so yeah. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. You won't be coming here. Okay, so let's start from the Landside coming up north from the Landside coming up north from here. So we will come in here, we'll do one loop, and then we come back out. Yeah, so let's bring down the camera speed. Okay, so this is the PIE, which becomes the ECP, and then it continues north. Okay, and then if you want to, yeah, I think if you want to go to Terminal 4, you have to branch off. Somewhere over here, and then you come over here for Terminal 4 departures. Yeah, this bridge in real life, it does exist. Yeah, looks quite nice. Okay, there's decent representation. I believe there's a bus stop here as well. Okay, so overall here looks good. Yeah, honestly, this area here doesn't matter too much. Yeah, it could be they didn't actually need to throw in these, and I'll be quite satisfied. But it's nice to see that. Okay, I'm not to go under, but it's nice to see that they have modeled it, yeah, so to speak. Okay, this area here nicely modeled as well. You can see the A21 gate area. Yeah, in real life, yeah, you can also always see whoever's parked over here. Yeah, quite nicely as you're driving up this section. So this is where you start branching off. This is, I believe, the I'm not sure what it is. It might be a taxi. It might be a sort of a taxi staging area, yeah, or maybe some sort of car park or coach area. But yeah, this does exist in real life, and so it's nice to see that it's modeled. Okay, the SkyTrain tracks. Nice to see that it's modeled as well. Okay, this one goes from. This is transit only lah. T2 Fox to Alpha Alpha gates Terminal 3 and T3 departures. Yeah, T3 is very special because you got the red. Actually, yeah, or T2 has it also. Do they have it? Okay, I can't remember honestly. Yeah, but I know T3 definitely has this red, yeah, special red, has yeah, sort of concrete painted surface. Okay, very nice representation. This is pretty much what it looks like. Yeah, again, nice representation of the check-in area, all the numbers. Okay, even got some sort of a taxi over here. I mean, of course, Singapore taxi doesn't look like that, but yeah, nice to see all this stuff modeled. Yeah. Do they have this right? SIA door 7. Okay, this one. Okay, so this is definitely not here. So okay, that's wrong. Okay, so this is not a terminal 3. Yeah, yeah. Okay, but overall here all nice. Crowne Plaza looking good as well. Okay. This is nice, yeah. This structure here, nice to see they have got it nicely modeled. Even got the swimming pool, the trees. Yeah, this is a very nice model of the Crowne Plaza, I would say. Yeah, pretty decent representation. Yeah, I'd say this is pretty good. Pretty good. Yeah, you can see the walkway leading from T3 to Jewel. Okay, and the SkyTrain running over here. Now I installed this scenery pretty much directly straight without any modifications from the inbuilt thing. So maybe I forgot to turn on the SkyTrain, animated SkyTrain or whatever. Yeah, which that explains why there are no SkyTrains running. Because in the trailer I saw a SkyTrain running through here. Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at Jewel. This is, I believe, probably the proudest achievement, yeah, this scenery. And I must say, this is a very good representation of Jewel. Yeah, this is basically what it looks like. Yeah. Of course, it's not perfect. There are limitations to rendering stuff in the sim, but pretty much this is what this is what it looks like. This is really just what it looks like. Yeah. It's the flower, the fauna is a bit sorry, the flora is a bit too it should be darker green. Okay, but otherwise, yeah, very good model. All the steps, all the stuff, the sky bridge, yeah, the OCBC. At the time of construction, this was the tallest indoor waterfall. Yeah, very nice. Even the stuff up here, yeah, this is all very nicely modeled. Yeah, so really well done to their team. And now it's the T1 departure drop off here again, nicely modeled. Okay, yeah, and there's a crossing over here to enter Jewel. Yeah, and yeah, this is pretty good. Landside, yeah, the iconic curved roof over here, the structure. Yeah, Terminal 1 here. Okay, the SkyTrain. Yeah, all this is very nice, really nice actually. Yeah, so you come out your SkyTrain, then you walk in here. I think this looks a bit too red. Okay, the real terminal isn't that red. It's more brownish, but this is, yeah, this looks decent. Yeah, decent representation. Yeah. This is there in real life, I believe also. Yeah, the sort of tree-looking structure. Yeah, the open ceiling. Yeah, to review the curved roof. Very nice, really nice actually. Yeah, the vibes are there. Yeah, you can definitely tell. Like if you just showed me this, I would say, oh, this looks like Terminal 1. This is T3 granite tiling. Okay, I have to check whether T1 is using this, but I'm fairly certain it isn't. Yeah, and nice to see they got the kinetic rainfall. Okay, this is animated in real life, but same limitations. Yeah, very nice to see they have it all here. Okay, though of course it doesn't hang that low. Okay, yeah, because if not, you hit it while traveling up and down the escalators. But yeah, this is very nice. Okay, coming down here, you have the coach. This is the coach bay. T1 coach bay. Not sure that, yeah, this is the T1 coach bay. Yeah, so doesn't matter. It's not very important stuff. Yeah, but this is all there. Walkway from Jewel to T2. Okay, before we move on then, let's look at the tower here. So this is decent. Yeah, this sort of structure that exists over here. This is a waterfall in real life, but nice to see they got the image here. And I would say, yeah, this is a nice representation of the tower. They even got an interior here, which I cannot enter. Well, yeah, the yeah, this is it's nice to the interior, okay, yeah, and the sort of red lights that surround this. I think the golf ball doesn't have these black stripes. Not sure where they got it from, but yeah, overall I'd say it's decent. Yeah, actually, it does, but it's not that prominent. Yeah. Okay, so coming down here, this is the T2 car park. Yeah, this is car park, I think 2A. Okay, this is a new sort of. Actually, does it look like that in real life? I'm not sure. Yeah, can't remember. It's been some time since I visited this area. But yeah, this is all looking very nice. T2 check-in area. You got the iconic sort of, yeah, this structure, this shape over here. Very nice. And really saw the interior. It's nicely modeled. Yeah, all very nice stuff. Okay, this is the T2 coach terminal here, and coach bay rather. And moving all the way down. This is a parking lot. Yeah, in real life this does exist over here. And this is the VIP jet key. There you go, jet key, the VIP terminal. Okay, and let's continue moving down to Terminal 4. You have the Nata here. Yeah, then South Cross taxiways, which you cross. Yeah, so overall, very decent. It's definitely the best rendition of Changi that we've ever seen for any sim. Of course, there are issues. Okay, it's not perfect, but it's a very good start. Yeah. Okay, let me speed up this little bit here. Okay, so yeah, this is the T4 car park here. Nice. Yeah, looks pretty accurate. Okay, all this stuff over here. This looks accurate as well. Yeah. Landside. Yeah, I'll say this is pretty accurate scenery, pretty accurate depiction. Yeah, so again, well done to them. Yeah, well done to them for this. Yeah. So overall, what are my thoughts? It's a decent scenery. Yeah, you should pick it up to support the developer. They definitely put in quite a bit of work and effort into this. Yeah, so their errors, most egregious thing for VATSIM is the wrong taxiway signage. Okay, Some coloring discrepancies here and there, missing blast effectors, stands, jetways not aligned. But yeah, the major breaking thing is the wrong signage, taxiway signage. Yeah. Otherwise, I'd say it's very good. Yeah. And yep. Thanks for watching this, and see you in the next one.